think there's probably two families. We were an immigrant family who came first to Australia in the late 50s and ended up in a migrant camp at Bonnydillin, the Albury Church. And my parents could hardly speak any English, and they turned up to church, and there was one family there that really took us under our wing, and that ended up with a friendship that lasted for decades. When we moved a year or two later to Queensland, there was another family who did the same when we turned up to a church in Brisbane. Again, my parents hardly speaking any English, and this family just embraced us. And again, there was a connection there that went on for years and years and years between our family and their family, due to their kindness, their hospitality, and their desire to make us feel welcome in what was a very strange country and a very different country to us.
I came from a home where my parents were actively involved with the youth, so our home was always open to the youth, and we had a very active youth group. So often my parents would have everybody over for lunch, and they'd end up sleeping over. The lounge was always full of sleeping bags and bodies, and swimming in the pool at night. So my mom enjoys having people around, and so I grew up in a home where hospitality was a big plus. And I enjoy entertaining people as well and having people in the home, and I think I've got that from my mother.
Jill is the raging extrovert. I'm the introvert who, by the third social appointment of the weekend, I'm starting to kind of scream and go, okay, that's enough people, I'm peopled out. I think in our home, there were certainly times that we had people around, and there were some good connections that our family made, but it was always dependent on how my father was feeling and whether he was depressed or not, or anxious, or how things were. So I certainly don't remember having any friends over to sleep over or anything like that, and we certainly wouldn't have had the youth around in the way that you did, which I think was pretty impressive. Yeah, so we grew up in quite different homes in that way. I always felt different because we went to church on a different day of the week, and different because I had parents who spoke with a German accent and sent strange things to school for lunch, which now would be very cool, but in the 60s wasn't very cool at all. And I think it would have helped me feel a little bit more normal if we'd had more people around, and more if I'd felt free to invite kids my age around, but that didn't really happen in my family, and I think that's unfortunate.
I definitely see it in my son. He's a social animal of note.
and a very generous and a very kind person, and in many ways, I think a lot like your dad in many ways, I think. Yes. MJ is, yeah. And
they'll often have people over. He's always willing to help or have people come into his home, and he's married a wife who's happy to do that as well. Even my daughter too, she will entertain mostly family, but she's got a heart of giving, and if she sees somebody is down and out, she'll want to help them and do little things. It doesn't matter how much it costs, she will do it for them, even if she loses out or it costs her money. That's nice to see.
I think in very practical ways for me now, as a counsellor and somebody who works as training counsellors, I try to get my students to see the holistic nature of what it is that they're actually doing. So when they're sitting in the counselling room talking to somebody about their sadness, they are being Jesus in that room. When they sit in a room talking to somebody about their loss and their grief or their pain or their anxiety, they are being Jesus. Whether or not Jesus' name actually gets mentioned, they are being Jesus in the room. So I see the mission of the church in terms of improving the quality of people's lives, being there for them, going on a journey for them, or going on a journey with them and meeting the needs that they have, rather than trying to change their thinking on something particular. The mission of the church really is to make a difference in people's lives. When I'm present with somebody, I am Jesus to that person.